One of the questions I have in my mind is we've got these 17 goals, right? Some of them are more relevant to a New Zealand context, an Aotearoa New Zealand context compared to others. And I was just interested to ask our speakers tonight, what is the number one priority in terms of these goals from your perspective? Is it around gender equality? Is it around poverty? Is it around our environment? And so in no particular order, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going to kick us off with Pedram. What's your number one priority in terms of the SDGs and what they seek to achieve, Pedram?
Kia ora, Corbin. There are different perspectives on this question. It's an important question. And, you know, I think personally that my view, I think that it depends on where you are. Naturally, most important one is number 17 being partnership. That is a very important SDG, which brings us all together to work on this. But then if you are in Middle East, in different contexts, then SDG number 5, women can, you know, that's a critical SDG. Half of the population are not involved in development of the community. Mm. So yes, all in, but I think also the relevant, the other argument, which is they're all equally important, is a very solid argument.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you there. I think about you know, the issues that we have at my marae, Ngai Tua Huriri, even though you know, Tamati's marae is literally 20 kilometres up and over the hill, a little bit longer if you've got to drive because of the hills, but the issues at Tamati's marae might be completely different to mine. His marae is in a coastal setting, mine's inland a little bit, so there might be you know, different priorities for us in such a small localised region. And on that note, I'll pass over to Tamati. He aha o whakarokas, what do you think is the number one priority for you and your communities?
I think Pedram said it very well, that it depends on where you are globally to what one kind of affects you most. But where I come from and where I stand, I think kind of number 15, life on land, is quite a big one. It's huge. You know, usually what we're doing on land affects our life below the water. Our land can provide food for tangata whenua, for anyone that's on the land. It also provides food for, and there's nothing better. I guess there's nothing better than taking a deep breath and it kind of relaxes you, kind of brings you back to your tūronga waiwai, wherever that may be, and that there is nothing that affects your whole order, your mental state and the kind of environment around you. And so having a healthy environment around you kind of gives you a healthy mindset as well. So I guess for myself, with how we all interact with our environment around us, I'd say life on land is quite a big one for us, I guess, in New Zealand. But there is also a few other, you know, it does depend on your respective environments around the world.
Definitely. And I think as well that idea of, you know, Indigenous peoples around the world have always had some element of having a symbiotic relationship with their environment. You know, you care for the environment will care for you. And it's something that globally I think we haven't focused enough on. And it made me think of a whakatauki, actually, a Māori proverb. Whatu ngaro ngaro te tangata, toitu te whenua. So humanity will wane eventually, it'll disappear, but the land will remain. So yeah, tēnei te mihi kia koe Tamati. Raewyn, he aha o whakaro, what do you think the priority for priority SDG is for you and your communities?
I think everyone will have their own individual priority, and I think that individual organisations will have priorities, and regions and communities will. But I think the really important point to remember is that the SDGs are interconnected. So if you achieve one, you'll achieve a lot of other things. And to give you a really quick example, in Raglan on the west coast here, there was 25 years ago, a man saw that he could no longer catch fish in the water. He said, this is no good. I want to do something about this. 20 years of collaborative work later, he's realized that it's actually riparian planting. And to do that, he got young people and trained them up with how to plant. And they started native nurseries. And so there was economic development, there was youth development, there was education, there was life on land, And ultimately, now Raglan is a jewel in the crown. It's sparkling and green, and clean. So I think you achieve one goal, you actually achieve a whole lot.
Mm.
Older. And that's kind of almost aligns with the idea of you give a man a fish, he can feed his whānau. You give him a fishing rod and teach him how to fish. There's an element of education in that in terms of the flow-on effects that can come from one simple act. Kia ora. Lucy, let's jump down to you. What's your thoughts on this issue?
Yeah, I think as everyone has already touched on, the whole sustainable development goals ideas is that they all work together, but I personally think I kind of have two. The first one is climate action, because I think that most of the things that I've seen there, education, especially for women in undeveloped countries, that's definitely a massive factor to helping combat climate change. And a lot of other sustainable development goals are as well. But I also think number 17, partnerships, is very, very important, because Te Tiriti is obviously needs to be put front and foremost in our climate action journey in Aotearoa. And yeah, I think that I like the climate action goal, and I like all the goals, but I specifically like that one because I feel like it encompasses the other goals quite well as well. So, yeah.
And you guys have all touched on it tonight, this idea of partnership, working collaboratively. I mean, that's whakawhanaungatanga at its core, really. We've got a couple of speaker-specific questions here. The first one